get physical, kind of. It's the 30th of December until January the 3rd. It's kind of quiet, guys, but I've still got an episode for you. So quickly, let's take a look at limited run games. Pre-orders for Killing Time Resurrected will open on their website on the 3rd of January. This is an old school shooter. I'm gonna stop using the boomer shooter phrasing because it's dumb. Who started that phrase? I know Doom Clone was equally unsatisfactory, but come on. This one has that distinctive, dodgy 3DO game look to it, and that's because that's exactly what it was back in the day. You can practically smell 3DO games. It looks goofy and fun with a horror theme to it in an ancient Egyptian curse kind of thing. Looks like fun stuff. And that's it. That's all there is this week for new games. But it's time to change the episode into a hyped physicals episode. Yes, hyped, exciting physicals for next year, and not only from me, but also I asked my Let's Get Physical executive producers for their input as well. And not only Switch, it could be any console aside from the Virtual Boy, okay? No Virtual Boy games in this episode. I made a similar video in September, and 5 of those games I mentioned in that episode still have not yet released, and I will not be talking about them in detail in this video unless a producer chose it as their choice. So from last episode, I'm still waiting on Suikoden Remaster, Broken Sword Remaster, East Memoir, Donkey Kong, and Curse Crackers. I'm still excited about them, but I'm not going to talk about them because I've talked about them already. But what am I excited about? What's new? Xenoblade Chronicles X is one that I am personally very excited to see get another lease of life on the Nintendo Switch after being in Wii U jail for so long. And my executive producers, Precision Plague, Dane Wilkinson, Punky Dooster, and Sora Cat all chose this as their most hyped physical release of 2025. And yet, it's a really nice game that many millions more people will be able to enjoy. Now, I do expect a little bit of backlash with this, some vocal minorities who probably expected something like the rest of the Xenoblade series. It's not that. You have to go into this one with a different mindset. This is more about freedom than a proper structured narrative and progression. Maybe it's a bit too open for some JRPG fans, but approach it in the way it was designed and intended to be played, and blast that music out as loud as possible, and just enjoy it. And if you want to pre-order this or any of the retail games in this video, please consider doing so via the links in the description and pinned comment. That massively helps me and this video series out to keep producing good physical content for you guys. VGP are a great company with cheap prices in Canadian bucks and free worldwide shipping on orders over 80 Canadian bucks, which is less than 60 American dollars. Plus each week, if you buy something, you are put into a draw with a chance of winning a $10 discount coupon. And this week's winner is Robert O. Irish Dude, probably Irish Dude. Congratulations, thank you so much for your support. You should get an email from VGP if you haven't already with your discount coupon. Alright, what else am I hyped about? The Messenger is hyped just for the fact that one will not have to pay $200 to purchase a Nintendo Switch copy anymore. Physically, of course. There's always that one dude in the comments who likes to remind me that games can be bought digitally, actually. No shit. But yeah, the artwork is slightly worse, but at least you get to play a great game for a much cheaper price. Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Look, don't faint. This is me picking a fighting game collection for something I am excited about. I know, you feel like you've entered into an alternative dimension, but I've been playing a few fighters on my Saturn recently, and I'm just kind of in the mood. Plus this collection has Power Stone 2, which is one of my favorite games ever. Sure, it's missing the best part of it because it's the arcade version, not the Dreamcast version, but it is what it is. Still a fantastic party brawler. I had it for my Dreamcast, I had it on my PSP, where there was a Power Stone collection, and I literally never played the first game. Why would I play Power Stone 1 when I can play Power Stone 2 with the item mixing? And actually looking at the games list, I think most of those had a Dreamcast port. Pre-orders of this physical come with a nice new comic, and it's also not releasing physically in Europe, so you'll have to import it if you live over there. Alisa. Okay, a little bit of self-promo. This is a game I helped get a physical release, and I am very proud of the fact. So It would be nice if it was successful. I stuck my neck out for this, and it seems to have paid off because this is one of Premium Edition Games' most successful titles, at least in recent years. So thanks a lot to everyone who has pre-ordered it so far, either via Premium Edition Games' website or Video Games Plus. There are 2 editions available, and hopefully it will be printed early in 2025. If you like old school Resident Evil, you should 100% definitely pick this up, and thank you if you do. It really does help me out. Tales of Grace's F Remastered is releasing very soon, and I'm quite excited to finally play it. This is one of the few Tales games of that era, perhaps the most famous era, that I haven't played. I played Symphonia, Vesperia, Abyss, and this one has the same kind of DNA, but I missed it back in the day, so I'm really happy to have the chance to play it now. It's releasing on Switch and PS5 in North America, but Europe is getting those, plus Xbox and PS4 versions. VGP will be carrying copies of all versions though. Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection. Now, I don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh! I've only played one PS2 game at launch back when I was like, 12 years old or something, and I could not get past the first battle. I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh! But you wave a retro collection in my face, reasonably priced, very comprehensive. Hell yes, I want to learn. This is a collection of portable Yu-Gi-Oh! Card battling games from like the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, of which will be in English, many of which will be in English for the first time thanks to this collection. I think one game will still be Japanese only, but you can still play a Western version of it in another game that's included. Something like that. It's worded very weirdly, but I'm very excited to play this. Atelier Yumia is one of 2 Atelier games coming next year. This is the one I'm most excited about since it's the one coming soonest, and it looks like a nice evolution of the series as it tries to get over the wonderful Riser. When trying to get over someone, a dark-haired girl always helps. I'm expecting another charming, lovely JRPG that will punch above its weight. Remember, Europe is not getting a Switch physical, so you'll have to import it, perhaps from VGP with the links below. Dynasty Warriors Origins is one I am excited about, but equally trepidatious. This could either be amazing, very mid, or just bad. I don't know where the wind is blowing on this one, because I love Dynasty Warriors, but do I love a generic NPC main character in the Three Kingdoms lore? I'm not sure. Single player only, as far as I'm aware, a very low amount of playable characters. It's called Dynasty Warriors, but is it really Dynasty Warriors? I'll have to see. I do plan on playing it. I really want it to be good, but I'm not sure about it. It's releasing physically on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. ACA NeoGeo Selection Volume 3 and Volume 4 are 2 separate releases that are releasing in Japan in April. It's funny that I featured Volume 1 and 2 in the last episode, and since their release, Volume 3 and 4 were also announced, and I'm also excited about this for the same reasons. A nice eclectic mix of classic arcade games. Okay, some of these are a bit heavy on the fighters, but that's just the balance of the console itself. It's gonna happen. Either way, I'm really happy, and I hope to see even more in the future. Alright, those are my 10 hyped releases that I haven't talked about before, so let's move on specifically to games that my executive producers chose, 2 of which chose games I talked about last time. I'm still very hyped about them, of course, but I didn't want to put them in my main list. So yeah, Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster. Issa, Robotech, and Dave Huswaite chose this as their most exciting physical for next year, and I couldn't agree more, hence why I put it in last episode. I've talked about this so much, I'll just quickly plead to you guys that I hope it will be successful, because Suikoden is perhaps one of the most underrated JRPG series of all time, especially these 2 greats. I really hope it's a sales success and Konami know to bring the series back properly, like with a new entry, come on. Donkey Kong Country Returns was chosen by Offone and JCross7776. And yeah, I talked about it last time, and I totally agree with them. I know there's some hubbub about it missing a lot of visual touches of the original, and yeah, remasters turning out worse than the original is something I've been awakened to recently, so it's nothing new for me. I'm sure it plays just as great. I loved it on the 3DS. Alright, now we are going into games I personally would not have chosen, Not because they're not good or great, but the hype levels for me just aren't there personally. Like, I'm not rushing out to buy them day one myself. These are games hyped by my executive producers only, okay? Trails into Daybreak II was chosen by Adamantium and G. Bautista 100, and I think in a parallel universe, this would have been on my list. Of course, I am more than happy the world is getting more Legend of Heroes games in English, but as someone who hasn't played the series, I can't personally feel overly excited to rush out and buy it, but I implore those who are into the series to do so, because the first game in this new Legend of Heroes arc was very well regarded, and it was so good they couldn't wait to announce this sequel, which is releasing in English on Valentine's Day. Who do you love more, your wife or JRPGs? It's fine to lie for the sake of your marriage, don't worry, I won't judge you. This is releasing in a deluxe edition on Switch, PS4 and PS5, and comes with a mini art book and digital soundtrack. Trails in the Sky First Remake is also coming next year, and a physical has been confirmed for retail, with Limited Run doing the special collector's edition, which absolutely makes me want to puke. Why would Falcom work with Limited Run games? Sometimes I don't think Japanese publishers are aware of how most people dislike Limited Run. Anyways, this is a remake of the first game in the Trail series. I got some flack for saying how I just prefer a port of the original because the art style is more appealing to me, and I'll stand by that, but I will also take back my part about saying that this is cheap looking 3D. I was being harsh there. I think the 3D is actually good here. Anyways, I expect it to be excellent, as does my executive producer, Lewis K, who chose it as their most hyped physical release of 2025. Pre-orders have not opened yet, but they will be coming soon. Off! My executive producer, Josh Foote, chose this as his most hyped physical of 2025, which is a very recently announced game, at least the physical release is. Pre-orders for the standard edition just opened on VGP, and an exclusive collector's edition over on Fangamer. Of course, it is very much in line with their previous releases of Undertale, Omori, you know, the quirky indie RPG, but this was made even before those. It's like the Undertale before Undertale, although I'd never heard of it until now, so it looks to be a good one. Who knows though? If you played Off before, let me know, is it good? Fable 4 was chosen by God of Resin. I did specify a physical release was needed to be confirmed, and although a physical release has not been confirmed for this, you know, as a Microsoft product, like a full first-party thing, is like 99% certain, so I decided to let it in. This had a little bit of a rough start to life. The reveal trailer was not well received, and we've heard very little of it since then. It's been developed by the experienced hands at Playground Games, known for the Forza series, which, you know, they seem to pump out on a yearly basis, but this one is taking quite a lot more time than that. Hopefully it's good, because I genuinely have fond memories of the first two games on my OG Xbox. Read-only Memories Neurodiver was chosen by Kevin W. This is a fascinating adventure game, visual novel thingy-mabob, and it's a sequel to 2064, which was well loved. When this released digitally, it had a lot of potential, and I personally enjoyed what I played of it, but it is apparently quite short, so do expect that. The physical release is releasing very soon in North America, but Europe already has a double pack of both games together, so maybe that's better value, I don't know, but this also has a collector's edition. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, my executive producer, The Nemo 6, chose this as their most hyped physical release of 2025. This looks to be an exciting return to form for the series, which had a bit of a misstep with the 5th entry. There looks to be a stronger narrative alongside the mix of farming and action RPG goodness. I was a big fan of the 3rd entry in particular. I think it was my most played DS game, so I'm hoping this can go back to the glory days. I'm not massively confident, but there is hope. It's coming in a standard edition, as well as an Earth Dancer edition, which has some beautiful box art, a soundtrack CD, art book, traditional fan, DLC, and a keychain, and it's releasing in March, supposedly. I don't know if that's a placeholder though. Could be a placeholder. Mika and the Witcher's Mountain is a game chosen by my executive producer, Cartoon Soren, who's been very enthusiastic about this release for a long time, keeping me updated about the physical, which I believe are on their way to Kickstarter backers right now, but there should be a general retail release next year, definitely in Japan, in March, definitely, but I'm pretty sure it will be available available in the West too. I don't know, details aren't so clear on that. This is heavily inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service, which is one of my favorite movies. Reviews tended to be a little bit mixed, mostly lamenting it not reaching its potential, but it's from a very small indie team who rely on Kickstarters for all of their games pretty much, so you can't expect too much from it. Civ 7 was chosen by Jennifer M and Thorn Metal Luna. I think most would immediately say it's going to be much better on the PC, that's a given. The Switch version will probably be a decent pickup and play portable option, unless you're rocking a Steam Deck or something. I don't know, but yeah, I've been afraid to play this series knowing how completely addictive they can be, so I'll have to rely on you guys telling me about the quality of this new game when it releases. Okay, those were general Western retail releases, but my executive producers also chose some import exclusives, so the Medical Examination Diary Teamwork in Paradise was chosen by Dave Horworth, the saucy sod. This is Entagram's debut English VN on Nintendo Switch, and it's a double pack of stories starring incredibly busty nurses. Story is not the point of this release, and of course, unlike the PC version, all the incredibly naughty stuff will have been taken out before Nintendo would allow it, so don't expect a full fat experience, even though I'm sure there will be a good few scenes leaving you full and fat regardless. Now, Play Asia do not state English, but they haven't updated their listing to reflect the English. It is coming in English according to various sources out there, and it's coming in a standard edition as well as a $200 collector's edition, which contains all sorts of stuff. From Madness with Love was chosen by Alexander Kato, who I know is a VN fan, and this is another visual novel. It's presented a bit differently to what you'd expect for a Japanese import VN. It's a bit more hip and indie, and I believe it's an otome. There aren't many reviews about it when it released digitally, but I'm sure if you're the audience for it, you'll probably get a kick out of it. Again, it's releasing physically in Japan with English. Ratatan was Brent McLean's pick of 2025. At the time of writing this, only an Asian and Japanese physical have been announced, and there is no solid release date as of yet. Hopefully, we do get a Western physical though, since the game looks like a bunch of fun. It's a rhythm game that I believe was inspired by Patapon on the PSP. Never played it, but it looks like I should probably do so, releasing sometime next year. Okayu Nyumu was chosen by Ghostbjorn, and this is going as obscure as humanly possible. It's a Japanese-only visual novel that, as far as I know, will not have English. I'm too old to understand this VTuber HoloLive thing. I don't get it, but I'm happy for Ghostbjorn to get excited for it. Good on you. I don't understand it. Alright, those are the most hyped physical releases of 2025. Let's jump into the community spotlight just quickly this week, because but if I did all of them by the time I finish, it might actually be the new year. Bent S sent in this photo picking up the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. Wish it was fully on the cartridge. The download sours the experience for me, but I'm talking about this since some crazy dudes out there actually ported the third game to the Dreamcast. I gotta play that. Executive producer Cartoon Soren sent in this photo, showing off a very Castlevania-themed photo. That's how Limited Run made sure this was one of their best-selling games ever. Danielle O sent in this photo, picking up the pretty nice-looking Neon Blood. I don't know if it's actually good or not, but North Americans will have to wait until next year for their proper ESRB copy. Executive producer Dave Horworth sent in this photo of 2 imports. The Sunsoft is back. Yeah, he said it wasn't very good, and yes, I agree. It needed a lot more of those kind of games to be actually worth it. Executive producer G Bautista 100 sent in this photo, picking up the Japanese edition of SNK vs. Capcom. And looking at those NeoGeo collections, like the 10-in-1, and then you see this, like a single arcade fighting game release, it does make me question the value, but at least it was cheap, especially the Japanese version. Executive producer Kevin W sent in this photo, picking up a couple of otome. The one on the right is getting a Western release at some point from P-Cube. I forgot what the translated title is going to be. It's something like Him, the Smile, and the Bloom, or something like that. Cresselac sent in this photo, picking up the Irem Collection Volume 2. Almost worth it for Gun Force 2 alone. Man, it was made by the same devs who went on to make Metal Slug, but I think I prefer Gun Force 2 to any Metal Slug game that I've played. Executive producer Lewis K sent in this photo picking up Iron Wings, one of Red Hot Games' very early titles, and I actually kind of like the artwork. It sells the theme well, like a war movie from the 90s. McLaren sent in this photo picking up Angelion Trigger. Apparently the arcade mode is perfectly playable despite being only in Japanese, but there are heavy amounts of impenetrable story segments in one of the modes, so maybe wait for some kind of official translation rather than importing. Paul S sent in this photo showing off Apex Heroines, which is perfect if you need something simple, brainless, and very anime. If you like Dynasty Warriors, you'll probably like this. Peter C showed off some festive family goodness, ready to enjoy some multiplayer fun on the recently released Core Keep. I heard it's pretty good. Piotr K sent in this photo with the ever popular Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. You know what? I think I'm probably gonna get this myself. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. Rainbow Pickle Gaming sent in this photo of 2 import-exclusive visual novels, Food Girls 1 and 2. And I know these get a bit of stick, but I enjoy them. A bit of a guilty pleasure for me. Red Rose Reaper sent in this photo. Either they work for PM Studios or they sneaked into their offices and nabbed some goodies. Nice publisher. I just wish they had more presence in Europe. I think most of their games are North American exclusives. Stefan N sent in this photo showing off the Cho Aniki collection. Just look at the artwork. Everything in this game is in Japanese, but they're shooters. It's not essential. Although I do think this will get a North American limited run release in English, so maybe wait on that. Steven665 sent in this photo showing off a lot of shmup goodness. It's amazing how many great shooters there are on the Switch now. Everyone thought the Saturn was great, but no, it's all about the Nintendo Switch. Alright, let's have a roundup. Choco Loco James, Alan and Jeannie, Devil Angel, Sandra K, Ivan O, Andrew R, Illogicool, Aki Florida, Needless Dragon, Maximus1216, Yum Yum Game, The Enemy Parasite, Theo, Sojan, Tappen the Nap, Vast Neon, Skip to the End. Don't skip to the end, that's their name. R Luna. Alright, please send me your pictures. You know where to send it. It's on the screen right now. Thank you, as always, for watching. Special thanks to my executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Alexander Cato, JCross7776, Punky Nooster, Cartoon Soren, Robotech, Raven Knight, Thorn Metal Luna, Isa, Vey, Offphone, Instacritic, Precision Plague, Alex M, Feig, Josh Foot, Ishin, Lewis K, Kevin W, Jennifer M, Super Ben Julio, Double Dave, Husway and Hallworth, Wixit, Sora Cat, The Nemo 6, Ghost Bune, G Bautista 100, Rose, and Adamantium. If you want to join them, check the Patreon link below. If you want to be an executive producer, it's the Let's Get Physical producer role. It's the last one. It's the most expensive one, okay? I don't like saying that, but it's true. There's a bit of confusion about which... Anyway, if you don't want to join that, that's fine. But you can support me by leaving a comment, leave a like. If you watched all the way through, you are a legend as well, okay? Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If you did watch all the way through, please leave me a letter emoji in the comments in honor of the messenger, because he's sending a letter, right? Leave that in the comments alongside a moderately relevant comment, okay? Oh, and one last thing. Oh, by the way, I really forgot to say this, okay? Happy New Year.